A strange request, a beautiful answer. The request came on a day that already felt too heavy to carry. It arrived quietly, almost shyly, wrapped in ordinary words, yet it struck like thunder in a tired heart. Some requests sound unreasonable, some sound desperate, and some sound so strangely pure that they force you to stop and look at your own life differently. This was one of those. It did not ask for money or favors or sympathy. It asked for something far rarer in a world running out of patience. It asked for understanding. And in that moment, without realizing it, everything began to change. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of humanity, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that are still searching. The man who received the request was named Aries, a name that once meant ambition, promise, and movement. Now it mostly meant survival. He lived in a narrow apartment where the walls seemed to lean inward, as if they too were tired of holding themselves up. Every morning began the same way, with the weight of unanswered questions pressing on his chest before his feet even touched the floor. He had lost his job months ago when the factory shut down without warning, and since then life had become a series of careful calculations, measuring meals, electricity, and hope in small, fragile portions. Aries was not a man who gave up easily. He walked miles each day, submitting applications that were rarely read, shaking hands that never called back, smiling politely while feeling smaller with each rejection. His pride had thinned, worn down by the slow erosion of uncertainty. Yet he still believed, stubbornly, that effort meant something, that dignity could survive even when circumstances tried to strip it away. On that particular afternoon, the sky hung low and gray, matching the heaviness inside him. He had taken shelter from the heat in a public library, not to read but simply to exist somewhere without expectation. That was when he noticed the folded piece of paper tucked between two books on a wooden table. It did not belong to him, yet something about it demanded attention. Maybe it was the way it was folded carefully, or the fact that it had been placed, not forgotten. The note was short, written in uneven handwriting, as if the words had been rehearsed many times before finally being set free. It asked for help, but not in the way Aries expected. It did not ask for charity or rescue. It asked for presence. The writer explained that they were alone, unseen, and carrying a burden that felt unbearable. They asked if someone, anyone, would be willing to spend a single afternoon listening to their story without judgment. No names, no details. Just a request for time and empathy. Aries felt something tighten in his chest. He had spent months feeling invisible, dismissed, overlooked. The irony was sharp and unexpected. Here he was, struggling to be seen, holding a message from someone who felt the same. His first instinct was to place the note back where it was, to tell himself he had enough problems of his own. Life had taught him to conserve energy, to protect what little strength remained. But something deeper stirred. Maybe it was loneliness recognizing loneliness. Maybe it was the quiet truth that pain does not compete, it connects. Aries folded the note again, carefully, and slipped it into his pocket. He did not know why. He just knew he could not ignore it. The following days passed in a blur of routine disappointment, yet the note stayed with him, a constant presence against his leg, like a reminder that someone else was waiting. Aries wrestled with the idea. What could he possibly offer when his own life felt so unstable? Who was he to carry another person's sorrow? Eventually, the question shifted. Instead of asking why he should help, he began asking why he shouldn't. The request included a place and a time, nothing more. A small park on the edge of the city, late afternoon, when the sun softened and shadows grew long. Aries arrived early, his heart pounding with a mixture of anxiety and strange anticipation. He sat on a weathered bench, watching children play, elderly couples walk slowly, life continuing in small, resilient motions. When the person arrived, Aries knew instantly, not by appearance but by the way they moved, cautiously, as if unsure they were allowed to take up space. It was a woman, older than him, carrying the quiet exhaustion of years spent being strong for too long. Her clothes were simple, her face lined with stories no one had asked to hear. They sat together, and time seemed to pause. The world did not disappear, but it softened, as if giving them permission to exist in that moment. The woman began to share her life, not with dramatic gestures, but with the steady release of truths that had been locked away. She spoke of loss layered upon loss, of being a caregiver until she forgot who she was beyond the role, of becoming invisible even to her own family. She spoke of days that blended together, of nights where silence felt louder than any noise. Aries listened, truly listened. He did not interrupt, did not offer solutions or platitudes. He let the words fall where they needed to, absorbing them without trying to fix them. Something unexpected happened as he listened. His own pain, which had felt so large and consuming, began to shift. It did not disappear, but it changed shape. It became something shared, something human, something less isolating. Hours passed unnoticed. When the woman finally finished, there was no dramatic conclusion, no sudden healing. There was simply a quiet exhale, the release of being heard. Her eyes held gratitude, but also surprise, as if she had not expected her request to be answered at all. They parted without promises, without exchanged contact information. The beauty of the moment was its simplicity. It did not demand continuation. It existed fully as it was. Aries walked home under a sky now streaked with fading gold, feeling lighter and heavier all at once. He realized that for the first time in months, he had forgotten about his own problems for several hours. Not because they were solved, but because they were no longer the center of the universe. He had mattered to someone, not for his skills or success, but for his willingness to be present. In the days that followed, subtle changes began to appear. Aries stood a little straighter. His eyes met others more often. He started volunteering at the same park, offering help where he could, not because he had excess, but because he understood the value of showing up. Opportunities did not magically fall into his lap, but something inside him shifted from desperation to quiet resilience. Weeks later, he received an email from a company he had applied to long ago. It was not a dream job, but it was work, honest work. Aries accepted without hesitation. He knew now that stability was built in layers, and sometimes the first layer was simply believing you still had something to give. On his first day of work, he passed the library again. The table where he had found the note was empty, the books rearranged, the moment preserved only in memory. Yet its impact lived on, shaping the way he moved through the world. Near the end of that same month, Aries returned to the park, sitting on the same bench as before. He did not know if the woman would ever return, or if her journey had taken her elsewhere. What he did know was that a strange request had led him to a beautiful answer, one that did not come in words or rewards, but in the quiet restoration of purpose. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the power of being seen and seeing others, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps these stories reach those who are waiting for hope without knowing where to find it. Before this story ends, I have a special request for you. Please comment below and share what kindness means to you, or a moment when a small act changed something big in your life. Your words might become someone else's beautiful answer. Life rarely changes through grand gestures. More often, it shifts through quiet moments, through strange requests that ask us to pause, to listen, to step outside ourselves. Sometimes the help we think we cannot afford to give becomes the very thing that saves us. And sometimes the most beautiful answers are the ones we never planned to give at all.